75 is a score for SIU Edwardsville. Second place, Bakersfield, 85.25. Third, North Dakota State, 70.25. So that's 1, 2, and 3, followed by Morgan State and Northern Michigan. Now we are ready for our next match between Don Stevens and John Loomis. This is the 126-pound division. Don Stevens is in the red singlet on the right side of your screen. In the blue on the left is John Loomis. But now you're looking at Don Stevens. He's from SIU Edwardsville, is a major in business administration from Orland Park, Illinois. This is John Loomis. He is a sophomore, 19 years of age, from Cal State Bakersfield, living in Sacramento, California. He's majoring in physics.
Mr. Loomis, good luck, sir. Mr. Stevens, good luck.
This is a 126 weight division, second SIU Edwardsville wrestler that we have seen. First 3-minute period.
This match pits the defending champion in Don Stevens, who was 2 years ago, he was second. He is a tough wrestler. I mean, I'm always impressed with the way he just continually puts pressure on a man. And in Loomis, you've got a pretty young sophomore, age 19, who's got a lot of throws and a lot of pin holds, and he puts people on their back. But I don't know whether he can do that to Don Stevens.
We have an excellent opportunity to take a look at the footgear that the wrestlers are wearing, and just like all the sports, it's very sophisticated for each athlete. Maybe you could describe some of the features of the footgear they're wearing, Ken.
Well, the typical wrestling shoe is lightweight, and it's got a very thin sole, and the thing that's most important is the flexibility, because you never know where you're going to have to drive. And
take down green,
Loomis scores the first 2 points, takes the lead.
Relax.
And in that somersault, I think the referee caught a foot in the face, but
we have 2:05.
I guess that's a hazard to the profession.
Please let me know when you're set.
Loomis got in position, and as Stevens comes at him, it's just an old-fashioned throw-by. He threw Stevens' arm by and came up on top for a nice 2-point takedown.
And there you saw Marlo Mullen, the official, getting a foot in the face. And now we're back to live wrestling. It is our first period.
Nothing. No.
John Loomis against Don Stevens. Stevens in the red.
No, Loomis is looking for that near fall. It was close, and you hear referee Mullen talking to the wrestlers to let them know whether or not he scored the point, because they can't always be looking at the scoreboard, obviously. And the escape by Loomis, or I'm sorry, by Stevens.
2-1 our score. Now Loomis still on top. 1 point for the escape. In case you missed our introduction, when Ken Kraft told us what a near fall was, that's when the shoulders are pointed in the direction of the mat. A near fall can be 2 or 3 points, depending on how long you hold those shoulders in that direction.
There's Coach Joe C. He's done a great job, and his assistant, Perry Shea. Perry Shea on the right, Joe on the left.
Neutral. Neutral.
In fact, Leandra, you may recall.
2 points, takedown, red.
And
Takedown for Stevens.
And he takes the lead, 3-2. Started to say, you may recall Perry Shea wrestling 2 years ago and winning the national champion here for Bakersfield. Now he's assisting out there.
Okay, Mr. Loomis, set, please.
Stevens, on the replay here, he just drives straight in, catches the heel of Loomis, and he's got to maintain. You see the referee giving the points, and he was still on the mat, but very, very close, and Coach C from Bakersfield didn't like the call. Granby roll attempt by Loomis. Didn't work. Now Stevens is tough on top, and by that I mean he rides people tough. He makes them carry his weight. He just really drains that bottom man.
3-2 our score. Don Stevens from SIU Edwardsville ahead.
Again, we see Larry Christoph, of course, on the left, and that's his trainer with him. He's very high on Dave Strickfaden as a very outstanding trainer. Loomis wanted to try that roll. It didn't quite get himself set up to do it. And you see Stevens using that leg to hook Loomis's leg and control him and driving the weight in continuously, making that bottom man pay. The theory in wrestling is you take your opponent off his base and make him work himself back up to a base in order to score some points.
That's exactly what we're witnessing right now. 24 seconds left in this first period. 3-2 to score. Stevens on top. In both directions. On top wrestling and on top of the score.
Warning green.
And a warning due to lack of inactivity called stalling.
And he warned Loomis for not moving, and then he called a potentially dangerous. When you see the referee put his hand behind his head, it's a potentially dangerous. And now we see a
question by
Let's listen. Let's listen.
He's got the leg tied up, he looks across, he's got an arm on the far side. How can you build a base when you've got your arm on the far side and your leg on your side? And he's not parallel to trying to... Fine.
All right, now the coach is getting a warning as well. Bakersfield coach has a warning. There's no penalty for the warning, but if he catches it again, it will be deducted.
Right. But you heard Coach C talk about you got to build a base. I just talked about, and there you see Joe C on the left. He's upset, but he's also had an official warning in this match on a judgment call.
Okay. Let's set.
And
we have 9 seconds left.
If he comes back, he can have a team point deducted. And then on the third one, they actually remove him from the gymnasium.
Thrown out of the game.
Right.
4 seconds left in the period. 3-2. Don Stevens is up. And there's the horn. We move into our second period, which is only 2 minutes in length.
Mr. Stevens, Mr.
He will
Loomis,
toss the coin.
It is tails, your choice. Mr. Loomis takes top.
Loomis, as you heard the official say,
Okay,
won the
second
toss
Mr.
and takes
Stevens,
the top
set,
position.
please. Scores 3-2, Mr. Stevens. Mr.
And
Loomis,
this, of
you have
course,
a
will
warning
reverse
for
for the third
stalling.
period.
Let me know when you're set. Okay, hold, Mr. Loomis.
And now Loomis, who's
Loomis
trailing at this point.
Up easy, Mr. Stevens.
2-3. When we say green, and green scores, and you hear the official saying green, he's referring to what's around their right ankles. And you'll notice that Loomis in the blue outfit is wearing a green singlet, while Dan Stevens in the red singlet is wearing a red anklet.
Mr. Loomis.
Referee Marlo Mullen is he's quite formal in Mr. Loomis and Mr. Stevens.
Yes, Mr. Kraft, I caught that.
And there's nothing wrong with that, I should point out. But however, it generally is not the most normal thing. Usually they'll refer to the wrestlers as red or green, and that's back to those anklets that you pointed out.
1:26 in the second period left. Score is 4-2 in favor of Don Stevens.
Well, he is definitely the favorite here with Loomis.
Seated number 1. Loomis seated number 2.
Yeah, these are the best job a seating committee do is to have number 1 and number 2 make it to the finals. We had seen some upsets throughout the tournament. We'll point that out as we go along in these finals, where number 1 and number 2 are sitting watching this. And now Stevens scores another takedown, and it really looked like a miscue by Loomis. He was trying to make a throw, and it didn't work, and it cost him 2 points.
And now it is 6-2. Don Stevens is up by 4.
Of course, when you're trailing,
45 seconds in the second period.
Loomis does, in fact, have to make some moves, and so he's going to have to gamble some, and that gamble did not pay off for him.
Don Stevens on top, John Loomis on the bottom.
1, 2.
Now, Stevens hanging on those ankles. Loomis trying to spin out of there, wasn't successful. Here we see Loomis. It looks to me like he's going to try and make a throw. He blocks Stevens, and then Loomis on the left is going to try and throw one more time. Right here, he locks around the waist, but it just is not in the cards, and that's where Stevens scores the takedown.
And now we're back to live wrestling. 25 seconds left in the second period.
And a warning on Stevens.
Now they both have warnings for stalling.
The next one, of course, will cost that person a point. Now the Granby roll is worth 1 point, and when I say Granby roll, that's when the bottom man goes right across his own shoulder blades to roll out, and he's usually looking for a reversal. In that case, it was just an escape.
6-3 the score. Don Stevens to the head.
Oh! Okay,
2 points.
he got the takedown, and it was a close call.
6-5. Loomis gets 2.
And the reason it was close is because it was right on the edge of the mat. Now we've got 5 seconds, and here's the Granby roll. And by the way, he goes right across his own shoulder blades and just comes out for the 1-point escape. Granby, by the way, was named after a high school in Norfolk, Virginia. Granby High School made it famous.
And now we are back to the final 2 seconds, 1 second, and there's the horn in the second period, and we will begin our third 2-minute period. Our score, Don Stevens 6, John Loomis 5.
Now
as we head into this second period.
We're into the third period, yes, and now Loomis, of course, is in position to score an escape, which would tie it.
Or a reversal, which will put him ahead.
That's correct.
Or a pin, which would give him the match.
Attempting a roll. Now he's going to try and change directions. Come on out. But Stevens, as I mentioned earlier, he is tough on top.
Off the mat. Yep, knees still down, Mr. Loomis.
Off the mat, back to the center. No change. Loomis down, Stevens on top.
138 left to the match. 126-pound weight division. Don Stevens from SIU Edwardsville in the red. John Loomis, a sophomore from Cal State Bakersfield, in the blue. Loomis is a physics major.
Well, he's going to try and attempt to use that training in creating angles and leverage.
Mass and weight and volume.
He's having a little difficulty solving this problem with a lot of weight on top of him. And he's got to get that escape to tie the match and then to try and score. And then, of course, it would be open for either man to score the takedown to win it.
6-5 is our score.
Now,
106 is left.
The referee just called stalling green, and that is Loomis. So now the score is 7-5.
And now you see Coach Joe say, not too pleased.
Now Loomis is up. He's going to try and, oh!
And it was over the line before that happened, so no points will be awarded. 1 minute left to the match. There's 2:03 on the riding time, so our score will show a 3-point advantage at this point for Don Stevens.
Timeout.
We're going to have a timeout. I believe it's
an
Don
injury.
Stevens.
Yeah, Stevens asked, and now here's Coach Joe C. talking to Loomis, and he can coach his wrestler.
While the other coach cannot.
Right, because it's the other wrestler had the timeout.
Interesting strategy. Whoever calls a timeout cannot coach.
Well, that was put in the rule book a few years back because, in fact, people were calling timeouts and they were really looking for a coaching strategy talk.
And there you see on the top of your screen, 53 seconds, 52 left in the match. 7-5 is the score, but Don Stevens also has over 2 minutes in riding time, so he really will have an 8-5 score.
Yeah, it is, in fact, an 8-5 because the riding time cannot be canceled. And so it's a 3-point lead, and Loomis knows that.
Loomis in the blue, trailing by 3 points.
He's trying to look for that big throw. He's trying to... Now we
picked up one there.
Stevens has been penalized for stalling. And Loomis needs a 2-point move to tie this match. And if it was a tie match at the end of the regulation bout, there would in fact be a 3-minute overtime, 1-1-1. But he just can't solve it.
1 point for an escape, 2 for a reversal. He needs a reversal with 20 seconds left. Scoreboard shows 7-6, but of course we've mentioned the riding time numerous times for Don Stevens. So Stevens really has a 2-point advantage with 14 seconds left in the match.
Okay, Loomis has come out. He knows he's got 14 seconds to try and get that reversal. Stevens also knows it, and he could just turn him loose and give him a 1-pointer.
Just the escape.
And now he's got caught on his back. Loomis has been caught on his back, and that's going to cost him 2 points.
There's 2 right there he lost, and
that's it.
So we had 2 for the near fall plus 1 for the riding time, and that'll make our final 10-6 in favor of Don Stevens. And Southern Illinois University team from Edwardsville wins yet another match by taking the 126-pound weight division. A fine match by Don Stevens and John Loomis. And we'll be back with more. We have several more weight divisions to go here at Morgan State University in these Division II National Championships, so don't touch that dial. We'll be back right after this.